Ever wonder how people get that cool effect where they put text behind their picture and really make it pop out? Well, fortunately, it's really not that difficult. With just a few quick clicks in Canva, you can really take your boring photo, put text behind it, and make it really pop out. And I'm gonna show you how to do that today. Let's go. Hey everyone, what's up and welcome to the channel. I am Michael and I like to make videos on content creation, tech, photography, and videography. And so if you're here today and you're either a new content creator or someone looking to level up your skills in content creation, you found the right place. So thanks for stopping by. Let's dive into the video. Okay, so first things first, you want to make sure that you do have access to Canva Pro. The features I want to talk about today, and really the feature that makes this whole thing work, is a Canva Pro feature. So to do that, obviously you go to canva.com and you can sign up for it if you don't already have it. If you don't have it, I highly recommend that you do, especially, again, it's up to you and make sure you have the budget for it. But I have found Canva Pro extremely useful over the years of content creation. It's either $120 if you pay it once per year, or you can pay $15 a month for it. So I believe you save 16%. So do that as you wish. But if you don't have Canva Pro, then you could do this somewhere else, use Photoshop, whatever. But for the purposes of today's video, I am going to be focusing solely on Canva Pro and the tool that you are able to use to do what I'm talking about today. So anyways, let's just jump into Canva Pro. So once you have downloaded Canva Pro, you are good to go. There's a couple ways you can go about this. You can see all my recent designs, but we're not gonna start there. One thing I really like about Canva is that it saves some of the more popular things that you can do in Canva. We're gonna come up here to the top left and hit create design. In this section, you have your heart's desire of what you wanna create. You wanna create a resume, go for it. You wanna do a logo, go for it. But for the purpose of today's video, I'm gonna focus on YouTube thumbnails. I use this all the time though for my Instagram feed, which you can see for my Instagram channel. I use it for reel covers. I use it for my carousel posts. But this tool is just, it's made my life so much easier. And I can spit out these kind of pictures incredibly fast. That's it. Let's do a YouTube thumbnail. Once you get into there, you'll see there's a ton of different options you can select from. If that's what you want to do, go for it. If you do that, then this tutorial is worthless to you. So I'm going to start from a nice blank white canvas here. So we're going to click into it. And then I already have saved a couple images that I want to keep, but let's go ahead and start from the beginning. So we're going to find our images wherever they might be, upload them to Canva, and then we can start creating whatever our heart desires. For the purposes of where we're at now, I'm going to probably start with this picture here. One of my favorite shots from our recent trip over the holidays to New York of the skyline, Manhattan skyline, shot from our hotel in Chelsea. I just loved how the One World Trade Center is front and center with the rest of downtown Manhattan here. I think it's a gorgeous sunset. So we're gonna start with this picture because I know that it works really well. First step and first things first, once you've uploaded and found your picture that you want to go with, you need to make sure, basically there's 3 steps to this and there's 3 layers to what we're about to do here. So layer 1 is going to be the background. That's your background image. Then what you want to make sure you do is you either right click to duplicate, or a lot of times there will be a section above, but just right click and you want to duplicate this picture. And from there, you want to make sure that it's sized up to match the first picture that you have. So we're going to go ahead and resize it, which if you duplicate the one that's already sized correctly, then you're good. So let's move this out of the way for a second. On the primary image, or whichever of the two, you want to make sure that we make this the background so that we can't mess anything up. So what I'm going to do is right click on the back image. I'm going to set it to the background image, and we're there. Let me actually get this out of this because I don't want to do anything. So now I can't move that image. The image is stuck. It's locked into place. But I can move this other image here, and that is exactly what I want to do. Now once we've locked it into place, we've got our image sized up correctly. We know that it's exactly the same size as our background image. We can click this handy dandy tool that Canva has offered. And again, the little crown here designates that this is for Canva Pro only. So again, if you're at this point in the video and you don't have Canva Pro and you're wondering where that's at in your Canva, then you're going to need to just get Canva Pro or move on to the next video. but this tool is incredibly useful. I use it all the time on the desktop version. It's super simple on the mobile app as well. I do use the mobile app primarily for Instagram posts because it's a little more simple, but for some more intricate things or video, pictures that require a little bit more, I do recommend using a desktop, and I'll show you why in a little bit here in the video. Come over here, click on background mover. You'll see Canva do its thing. It takes a couple seconds depending on how intricate the picture actually is. And then once it's done, it doesn't show much, but you'll know once the little blue bar stops flashing that it's done doing its magic, and I'll show you exactly what happened. So now if we move around, the skyline has been removed from the image, which is exactly what I want. Now, we'll jump back into it in just a few moments on what happens if the image may not be exactly how you need it, or if there's a little bit more messiness within the image on what you can do. But in this case, we're gonna keep it as is because it's perfect. It's literally exactly what I need. And now the next step is to create the text that we want to insert behind the image. So you come over to the left-hand side of the screen, click on text. And what I generally stick with is just a heading. I think it's exactly what I need. And the nice thing about Canva 2 is it comes pre-populated with a ton of different fonts that you could use. Have a way with it. There's obviously some that are pro only, and then of course there's some of the more generic ones. For me personally, I always use either League Spartan, which is typically what you'll see on my Instagram, and for my YouTube thumbnails, lately I've been using Horizon. So we're gonna use that because one of these images that I'm doing this video on right now today is gonna actually end up being the image that I use for my thumbnail. So cool, you get to see me in the process of doing it. It's kind of like a weird Inception kind of deal. So let's just say text behind. And then of course you can change the color. I typically go with this yellow here. Make sure your text is selected. Typically go with this yellow here. I think it stands out, looks really good. And you can resize the text to whatever size that you want it. Nice thing about Canva 2, let's grab this text and move it around. You see these bars that pop up. We have safe zones, which is really nice when you're creating Instagram posts, especially more specifically Instagram reel covers, because we know how wonky those can be. But in this case too, like if I'm creating a YouTube thumbnail, I want to make sure that I'm within my safe zones. Obviously you can push the limits however you feel, whatever, do what you want to do. But for me, I like to stay in those safe zones. So here we are, we're within the safe zones for a 16:9 YouTube thumbnail. And you can kind of also find out where your text is in terms of positioning. We are dead in the middle of the screen, which is great. You're gonna go above middle, below middle, all those kind of things. But I think what's gonna look best here is actually sticking it right smack dab in the middle. So once we've done that, we've got our text. We are ready to do the magic part of the secondary magic part of this tool here in Canva. We now can go over, select either the background image, or not the background image, the secondary image or the text. Come up to the top where it says position, click on position, and it took me the longest time to figure this out. For the longest time I was hitting backward and just manually aligning it where I need it to be, when you can simply just click on layers. And it's a lot easier to do it that way. So right now our text is the first layer, our image with the background removed is the second, and then of course you see the background. And in order to make this effect work, where your text sits behind the image, it needs to be sandwiched between your background image and the image that you've removed the background from. And once I do that, I move that to the forefront, the text is in the middle, sandwiched. It looks amazing. And it's so simple, and it makes things just a piece of cake. And so really, I would just leave it just like that. And maybe change the color a little bit. I might make the color for this particular image white or play around with that some, but it's really easy, and I think this looks great. And it makes it look like you spent hours in Photoshop masking the image out to put the text behind it, when really it's just a couple clicks, because Canva Pro is fantastic. So it's that simple. And then from here, you literally just go and you share it. You can download it, you can save it, upload it, do whatever you need to do with it. And you have beautiful looking thumbnails, beautiful looking carousel posts, or Instagram reel covers. And it just takes a couple clicks, and really just takes a couple of minutes. Now, let me jump into the next thing though. So we're gonna actually go back to the home. Oh, I've already alluded to this, but sometimes you can trick it, or sometimes the background remover doesn't work exactly like you want it to do. So I'm gonna actually make a copy really quick. And we're gonna jump into here. We're gonna keep the text, but I am gonna delete out these images and bring in a new image to use. And I've tested this out, so I know this one helps me to identify what I want to show you here. So same thing, we're going to get our image, we're going to duplicate it, going to right click, set image's background, so that works there. Bring up the image to the forefront, background remover. It's going to do its thing, and you can already see what it's highlighting as the main part of the image and the background. And so as expected, it's going to remove this guy from the background, which is cool, right? Like this picture that I took, this is part of the bucket list shot that I had from San Francisco a couple weeks ago, or I guess a little over a month ago now at this point. So if you want to check out that video, it's up here above. But this doesn't really cut it because, right, like if I come up here to position like we showed you earlier, and I can move the text up, or let's see, I can move the text up to where I know it will be seen. Do this little thing here, maybe put it just a little bit behind the mountain, bring it back, put the mountain picture back at the front. Like this is cool, but it doesn't really accomplish what I'm going for. I would really love the text to be front and center in the middle. And honestly, I really want it to kind of go behind the Golden Gate Bridge itself. So here's where we have to do a little bit more work with our image that has the background removed. And it's not always perfect. And if you want perfect, maybe Photoshop is better for this type of work, but we can also make it work here. So click back into background remover tool, and you'll see where it's already identified the background. But what I want to do here is actually remove everything but the Golden Gate Bridge from this image, and we can try that out. So over here on the left-hand side, just like most editing softwares, you can adjust a brush size, all that kind of stuff. So let's start out. We're gonna get rid of a lot of this foreground here. Let's do this. Stay away from the bridge. Kind of need to get a little bit more detailed. All right, let's try this out. That out of the way. Be a little careful here. So essentially what I'm doing here is I'm going through and I'm removing even more of the background than the computer thought. I'm going to come back up here, make it a little bit smaller. Actually, let's remove this tree. I don't need that tree. Get rid of the mountains. And now this is quick and dirty. I would likely spend more time if I'm going to use this one, but I don't think I'm actually going to use this image for a thumbnail. But this is a prime example, so I wanted to show you what's going on here. So let's remove some of that. Let's see. So, and again, this is tough. And this is, maybe this isn't the best image for this kind of depth effect with the text, simply because the Golden Gate Bridge is a little washed out here, but we're going to see. And I want to just use this as an example. All right, so this looks good enough for now. Let's go ahead and exit out of here. We're gonna bring our text back. And right now, if we go to positioning, the text is sandwiched in the middle. So let's click into it and drag it a little bit. So again, still not quite what I want. So it looks like I'd probably need to come back over here, go back in the background remover. Actually, let's see if this works. So we're gonna remove everything but the actual centerpiece of the bridge. Let's do this, because what we're gonna be able to do doing this is that the text will sit on top of the mountains. And it will also, let's see, it'll sit on top of the mountains, but go behind the bridge and then pop right back out. And what could look a little weird though is because we're gonna have some of the mountains in the background. And honestly, if I really wanted to do this, I would probably bust out my iPad and use my Apple Pencil to get rid of some of this stuff, but you'll get the picture of what I'm trying to go for here. Anyways, it's not gonna be perfect. There you go. So you can kind of see this is actually, I might actually spend some time with it and use my iPad because I think this looks pretty sick. But let's adjust it. Let's make sure we're centered. Just kind of play with it. I know you can go to arrange and do middle with the text and all that. So do all that, but I don't know. I like to drag it. I like to be able to play with it myself there. So that looks pretty decent. So yeah, there you have it. You can adjust the actual image even more in depth. And again, let's, for kicks and giggles, let's see if I can, see, I'm not even gonna be able to get it small enough to fit in between. Maybe I can. But yeah, play around with it some, get creative. That's This tool is incredibly valuable, and even still, if I had to do this in Photoshop, I'm not very skilled in Photoshop, so it would probably take me a long time, but maybe you're really skilled in Photoshop and you could avoid this whole step and save some money without doing it, but you're still paying for Photoshop too, so I don't know. Anyways, we'll see what this looks like. Yeah, it looks a little bit better. See how the bee popped out behind there. So really straightforward, really great, really simple thing to do. And it really elevates your images to the next level. And this looks a whole lot better than sitting here and ruining your beautiful photograph by, let me actually show you. Let's get rid of this completely. Like, that just ruins the image. The text is great. You want it there. You need the text there, but it just totally takes away from the photograph. So why not have the best of both worlds and use this tool that Canva has given us to really take our picture and elevate how we present it to the world. So go out there, use this tool. I'm not sponsored by Canva whatsoever, but if you want to pay for it, go for it. It's great. Awesome tool. All right, so there you have it, a really simple and effective way using Canva Pro to put text behind your images, not ruining your photographs, but still making your thumbnails, your Instagram posts, whatever, really pop out. If you found this video helpful, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel. It would mean a ton as I'm working to build this channel from the ground up. And also, don't forget to come back next week for some more content. Peace. Try this again.